we got a CNN article. Some antidepressants contribute to weight gain more than others, study finds. Mental health treated same as physical health. I'm not quite sure what this means. Like it's treated worse. So I'm not sure. Like, is it? I'm gonna play the video, and we're gonna see if we actually can get a answer. I'm gonna pause the music because I want to know if by treated same or worse or better, do they mean it by people around you or by the medical experts? Please let there be
May
no...
is Mental Health
Yes.
Awareness Month, yet many Americans feel they're not getting the help they need. A new West Health Gallup survey finds that 3 out of 4 people believe their mental health issues are not identified and treated the same way as physical symptoms. It also shows that 51% of Americans say they experienced depression, anxiety, or other mental health related issues in the past year. The U.S. Census Bureau and healthcare experts found a severe shortage of child psychiatrists in the nation's 25 largest cities. For example, in Indianapolis, there are more than 100,000 at-risk children with only one mental health professional per 2,857. In Houston, which has 130,000 at-risk children, there are only one psychiatrist for every 2,000 kids. Joining me now is Dr. Tammy Benton, psychiatrist-in-chief at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and president of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Dr. Benton, thank you for being here. Why are there so few providers per patient?
Okay, so they mean it this way, that by the access to the psychiatrists. Yes, even here in my own country, there's not many of these psychiatrists to help young people and that. Personally, if you have a problem with mental issues, I would recommend you to just turn off and get the hell out of society. Unfortunately, this is something that many of you cannot simply do. Not because you don't want to, but simply because you can't afford it, or your area is not safe, so you cannot just simply walk out of door and go for a run or to go to nature or park, because you simply, it's a security risk for your own health. I actually wonder how much does psychiatrist cost? I actually am gonna Google it for you. Give me a moment. I did not do it, so there you go. Mental health, that's not what we treat. Patients, insurances, specialty. Okay, and no. Actually, how much does a psychiatrist cost without insurance? According to the Electronic Health Reporter, the average cost of psychiatrist visit without insurance generally runs between $100 or $200 per session, but initial appointments are often more. Also keep in mind that any additional mental health service can increase the cost of your care and therapy session, I say. So it is not exactly the cheapest. So this can be a 1,000+ investment. At that point, I would just simply recommend you to just try to get away and have a peace with yourself. Just relax somewhere out there. Because I'm pretty sure, simply... I don't know how much it costs, a hotel room and etc. and the travel expenses. However, if you could go out and genuinely be alone with yourself, it will probably help you as long as you are determined and if you're actually willing to think about what's troubling you. And if your brain is demented or maybe you are and stupid with a snowflake who simply refuses to actually think about what's bothering you, then yeah, I mean, obviously therapy. Yeah, therapy is very favorite among white people, generally. Maybe because they have money for it. But I mean, I would not go for a therapy never. I would rather figure out my own problems on my own than go for a therapy, but I know I can figure them out. If you do not have that capacity, then yes, seek out professional help. Don't judge yourself based on others. Judge yourself based on your situation. Don't try to overcome something when you know you don't have a mental physique to actually overcome it. Let's continue listening to the video.
Yeah, that's a challenge that we've struggled with for many years. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the rates of mental illnesses among children and other emotional challenges are increasing at a fairly rapid rate. And it definitely outpaces the rate at which we can train more child and adolescent psychiatrists. In addition to that, there are several issues related to the length of training, so that the average length of training is medical school, residency for 3 years, and 2 years of fellowship. And then most young people coming out of medical school nowadays have about $300,000 in debt. And so it's really challenging for a multitude of reasons.
You say that that there's an increase, an uptick in the number of cases.
Also, most of people don't really like to get into the mental health sphere because simply not many people actually want to help. Not because they are evil or like that. However, they know it is very stressful even for the psychiatrists. It is very stressful even for the doctors who are helping you, and they understand they will have to deal with people who may be a bit more explosive about their problems, that they will not simply just sit down and talk to you calmly. No, they will talk to you calmly like Dumbledore talks to calmly to Harry in the what was that? Goblet of Fire? Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, they'll be very vocal and it will not be pleasant for you. Therefore, that's also one of the reasons why not many actual Americans try to become a psychiatrists. And the depth, of course. However, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you also have to get some sort of certificate before you can actually start to be a psychiatrist on your own. You have to have a certificate first for actually for doing your job, right? You cannot simply just get a degree and start working. No, at least in EU, you have to get also a certificate that's that confirms that you are capable of doing any task that you will be doing. Like people in dental hygiene, also they make certificates. I'm not sure if it's required. However, my dental hygienist has a certificate. And also, if I sometimes go to the hair salons, I see also certificates on the walls. If it's like privately owned, if it's like owned by company, then obviously no. Then you have some random teenagers or adults working there as a side hustle.
That require treatment. You've had a 3-decade distinguished career. What has changed in the population during the last 3 decades?
I think the environment has changed considerably. And what we're starting to, well, I think there's a couple of issues. One is that I think that these problems have been around for a while, and many times they were undetected. With increased awareness and our ability to identify these issues, we've actually uncovered things that young people have been struggling with for a while. So we probably all remember the youngster that seemed to be annoying everybody in class. we didn't realize that a lot of times those youngsters were struggling with ADHD or anxiety and other things. So I think there's increased awareness, but there's also increased social and environmental stressors that contribute to what we're seeing today.
Okay, so what do we need? Where do we go to find the, I like to use the word mingling that is lacking. I know you favor the
Social stresses and anxiety was here before. However, people simply did not talk about it. They just let it rest in themselves until they broke and did something they did regret afterwards. Like people from certain sides are going to tell you that this was very good, just it was to make, those nerds into real males and all that sort of bullshit, but no. Simple, there's more of these. There are simple. We know more about the mental issues because those young people are not afraid of speaking out anymore. They were very afraid to speak out before because they know they would probably get harassed by their parents most of the time, or in good majority of the time they were afraid. Because, I mean, if you saw some American movies, then you probably saw some of these stereotypical American dad and stuff like that, that he was very harsh on his children. Like, if you would tell him, like, and kids, if they probably thought that, like, if they would tell their dads or mothers about their issues, then they would probably get beaten up with them violently. So yeah, that's also a reason why we are seeing more of these depressions and anxieties popping out lately. It's simply because people are no longer afraid of speaking out about their issues, and it's a good thing because when you talk about your problems, there's an opportunity for solution. If you keep it in yourself, like you have no idea what you will do in years afterwards, in years of piling this stress, this depression, in yourself. Like you might do something you will regret for the rest of your life.
belonging that seems to be absent in so many lives.
So I think there are many opportunities for us. And I think the pandemic, though it brought many challenges and problems that we're facing today, there were also opportunities. So a few of the things that happened during the pandemic is families were together and there were more opportunities for families to spend time together. The other issues that are plaguing us really have to do with creating a sense of community in places where young people are. Schools, their communities, recreational activities, all of those things, families spending time together in the outdoor environment, all of those things are really important to supporting mental health and preventing emotional challenges. Some of the things that are happening, though, as we understand, there are lots of things happening in the world that young people are exposed to through media, through social media. There's a lot of stressors in school environments with many kids being bullied and marginalized and not necessarily being able to find those communities. But those are the things that maintain and support mental health. And the goal would be, how do we create an environment for young people to thrive and for resilient families to be okay? And there are many approaches we're taking to doing that. Some of them is better education about mental health, better education for providers and for communities. And so we're looking for ways to integrate mental health into settings where children and families are every day. For example, schools. It's an excellent opportunity to reach more kids in an environment that's not stigmatizing. We're also starting to integrate more behavioral health providers in primary care practices. So when families go to receive their medical services, they're able to receive their mental health services as well. And we're looking at other community partnerships. We're partnering with churches, recreational centers, athletic programs. But the challenge is the one you identified at the very beginning. There just are not enough clinicians to care for all the young people in need.
I'm so glad that you're here as the month kicks off. I heard you use the word stigma. Job one is to get beyond the stigma and have this kind of dialogue.
The problem about school is there'll be a lot of kids with different parents, and they are also parents like this that they belittle these problems and they call them weak, and they also raise their children to be a more on a bullying side of against those children who actually express their anxiety. So I mean, in school it varies. It's not that safe. It's not that good of an idea to actually have kids, talk with each other about it. Sure, in instances works. In other instances, it can cause more harm than benefit, which ultimately that then comes to the parents, and parents in 21st century are another shit. And by other shit, I mean they just simply do not pay that much attention to their children. When they reach a certain age, they stop raising them. I'm personally not a fan of last century or any other century type of parenthood. However, parents back in the day were probably paying a little bit more attention to their children than they are now. It's probably also mostly because of work and careers. Basically, the parents also are trying to make something for themselves to retire, happily ever after and all that beautiful stuff. However, it leaves children without someone they can kind of look up to, and mostly to gain a default sets of values from. And when you do not give children when you do not insert your values into children, then they will get those values from other sources, and sometimes those sources might not be what you would envision for your children, and it could be something heinous, villainous. So yeah, we're gonna now read the article. I'm not quite sure how long it is. Antidepressants can be lifesavers for many struggling with so many mental health diagnoses: anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, social phobias, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Yet taking these mood-altering substances can lead to an unpleasant side effect for some: weight gain. While many people never add extra weight, doctors say concerns over additional pounds are a key reason people may be hesitant to start taking antidepressants for their mental health. Weight gain is also a reason why some stop their medications despite feeling less depressed or anxious while using them. I never knew about such side effect simply because I never took any antidepressants, therefore I did not have any need to research this. But one would think the scientists or whoever makes these pills would solve this issue. Weight gain, I would probably anticipate they use some sort of fat or sugar in there, something very concentrated, because I mean when you eat sugar, then when you eat sugar like candy and stuff, you generally feel a little bit more relaxed. You can probably notice that you feel a little bit more happier. Maybe not richer happy, but you just feel something smiling in you. So I would anticipate they are using some sort of a highly concentrated sugar to even much higher prepare these emotions in you. While many people never add extra weight, doctors say concerns. Oh yes, we already read that. Now, a new study sheds light on just how much weight gain might occur, on average, while taking 8 of the most commonly prescribed antidepressants. One of the most widely prescribed antidepressants, sertraline, also known by brand names Zoloft and Lustral, was associated with average weight gain near 0.5 pounds, 0.2 kilograms at 6 months. That's not that much. That's not that much at all. That rose to 3.2 pounds, 1.46 pounds at 24 months. Okay, that's definitely an interesting. According to this study, I'm not quite sure. I mean, how did that study go? Like, I would love to see the paper on the study. Like, what were the people actually, eating and stuff? What sort of, physical conditions were under? What sort of workout routines they had? Because this is definitely quite surprising to read. However, we don't seem to get any data here. Using that as a comparison, researchers found people taking escitalopram, known by the brand names Lexapro and Cipralex, had an average 15% increased risk over sertraline of gaining at least 5% of their baseline weight at 6 months. The risk was 14% for paroxetine, sold under the names Paxil, Arapax, Paxeva, Seroxat, Serupin, and Brisdale. The study found duloxetine, sold by the brand names Cymbalta, Roxentia, and Xantere, was associated with a 10% increased risk of a patient gaining at least 5% of their baseline weight compared to the sertraline. The study said a weight gain of 5% or more over baseline is considered clinically significant for health, said lead study author Joshua Pettimar, an assistant professor of population medicine at Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Institute and Harvard Medical School in Boston. I'm gonna add my 2 cents to this. 5% increase of your baseline weight in 24 months is simply not that much for you to drop. Well, depends on it. I mean, for me, like, antidepressants is something that you should be taking over a short period of time. You are in some bad mental health situation, so you take those antidepressants to, better yourself. Like, those antidepressants you should be taking them to first to control your own emotions, and which is your job, or job of a psychiatrist, if you decide to go there, to solve that issue, what's causing you to be emotionally unstable or unstable. Yeah, like, those pills are not there to actually solve the problem. They are there to just to stalemate the problem, and it is up to you to actually solve that issue that's breaking your heart and your soul. The typical adult gains an average of 1 to 2 pounds per year, which over time can contribute to obesity. This weight can be driven by physical inactivity, stress, poor sleep, and poor food choices, such as eating too many ultra-processed foods as well as medications. Experts say weight gain by pounds. The study, published Monday in the journal Annals of Internal Medicine, used electronic health record prescriptions and body mass to compare weight gains among more than 183,000 people. Researchers looked at weight at 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months for individuals between the ages of 18 to 80 who were starting an antidepressant for the first time. When analyzing the data by pounds and kilograms of weight gain, people on escitalopram and paroxetine added an average of 1.4 pounds, not 0.63 kilograms, by 6 months. By 24 months, the weight had risen by 3.6 pounds, 1.63 kilograms, for escitalopram, and near 3 pounds, 1.33 kilograms for paroxetine. Duloxetine was associated with an average gain of 1.2 pounds, not 0.55 kilograms at 6 months, and 1.7 pounds, 0.78 kilograms at 24 months. In our study, the average weight at baseline was 84 kilograms, or about 185 pounds, Fatima had said in email. This means that in our study, a 5% increase in weight translated to, on average to a weight gain of 4.2 kilo, or about 9 pounds. However, the study found no significant higher or lower risk for citalopram, sold as Celexa, fluoxetine, sold as Prozac, or venlafaxine, sold as Effexor, XR, Vencir, Vencarm, Venlalix, and Venlablue, when compared to sertraline. We need to remember these are average values. Many people won't gain any weight, while others could gain considerably more, said Dr. Roy Pervis, Associate Chief of Psychiatric Research at Massachusetts General Hospital and Professor of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School in Boston, who conducted a similar study in 2014. He was not involved with the new research. Still, having average values to work with and seeing that these averages line up well with prior studies and research give people a sense of what might they need, Paris said in an email. Not all patients perceive weight gain negatively, although it is more common for patients to want to avoid weight gain than to seek it when taking an antidepressant, Fatima said. For example, mirtazapine, an antidepressant that is sometimes used in treatment of eating disorders. We didn't examine mirtazapine in our study because it's not considered a common frontline medication for new users of antidepressants, he said. Weight loss occurred with one drug. One antidepressant contributed to a small amount of weight loss at 6 months, the study found. Bupropion, Wellbutrin, and Ziban, on average, had a 15% lower risk of gaining a clinically meaningful amount of weight compared to sertraline, Fatima said. Our study didn't explore reasons why bupropion was associated with less weight gain than other antidepressants, but other studies have similarly concluded that it is associated with less weight gain than other common antidepressants, he added. When analyzed by pounds or kilograms lost, people who took bupropion dropped almost 1/4 of pound, 0.01 kilogram, at 6 months before gaining 1.2 pounds, 0.56 kilograms at 24 months, according to the research. Why do antidepressants contribute to weight gain? Science doesn't know yet, Paris said. I think it probably also has to do with the fact that people who are depressed, they are trying to find a way to ease the depression. In other senses, they eat more, or they eat some food they simply like, okay? So maybe they eat cake or any other sweets, and they probably eat it a little bit more than do they actually realize. Maybe the antidepressants also have an influence about it, I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical about it. But hey, we might, who knows? As I said before, I never did actually use antidepressants, therefore I don't know. I don't know even what it would do to me, since I never really felt that depressed to actually get. I never considered any of pills I did not consider to get any of these, because I never really had that situation. Remarkably, we don't know the precise mechanism by which antidepressants contribute to weight changes. First, we really do not know much about who is most likely to gain or lose weight, so we can make good predictions in advance, he said. One caution, Paris said, is that some people lose weight when depressed and lose their appetite. Some of what we are seeing may be people gaining weight they lost as their depression or anxiety improves. Yes, that can also be a reason. Yeah, that's depression has. Depression can have a numerous impacts on your weight. You may gain weight, or you may go to the anorexia, which is arguably more devastating for you than actual obesity. Because from obesity, you can lose weight, or you can actually start working out and turn some of that fat into muscles, which will benefit you more long term. However, if you do go into anorexia, then it will be much harder for you to gain strength or regain strength. The best way to manage side effects is to anticipate them, experts say. Patients who are concerned about weight gain should have an open and honest conversation with their clinician about their concern, Pertimal said. There are many clinical factors that determine which medication is right for a given patient, Pertimal said. These include the patient's clinical symptoms, their medical history, and any other drugs they are already taking, and possible side effects that the patient is concerned about. Clinicians have to weigh all of these factors when they decide which is the best course of treatment. He added, while the patients can strive to avoid weight gain by following healthy eating habits and exercising regularly. I think we're gonna go straight to the next article. I don't really think I need to add anything more. If you're feeling unwell mentally, then either seek up a professional help, or if you have cash, then maybe try to get out some to nature and just be there yourself and try to think of the issues that are troubling you or the emotions that are plaguing your head. I know it can be definitely very hard for people to actually come up with their problems. I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that your parents will understand it. You probably know or deduce their reaction before you actually attempted. I mean, you live with them, so you probably be able to deduce it if they are able and willing to actually have a good discussion with you, then that is good for you. Unfortunately, I think most of the children are scared that their parents will just shout at them and call them, weak or something like that. So yeah, seek help, stay safe, and hey, don't commit something you might regret committing.